Hello, YouTube. Welcome to episode 4 of Joe Ketchapalia Talks About Real Estate Stuff. I've been chronicling my shipping container home build. Not, although we haven't built anything yet so far, just have the land, have some plans put together. Ooh, stay till the end because I'm going to show you my most updated renderings, finalize those plans, so that's exciting. Last time, episode 3, I don't know if these are really episodes, we talked about the team that you need to put together to find the land, because so far that's really all I've done is found land, put a team together, starting to make a plan. But, I'm trying to show you the whole process, and so this is a big part of it. I want to back up and tell you a little bit about some of the tools that I use to find the land. You're going to go through, marketplaces, on-market deals and off-market deals, so like the MLS and places like Craigslist. And then everything else is going to be stuff that I use for due diligence to really check out the land to make sure if it's going to work for me, including I use Google Maps a lot and Street View, using the zoning maps and flood maps. And AirDNA, that's a specific tool for short-term rentals, and I'll show you just really quick about that. What am I doing here? There we go. Okay. So for me, finding the land, I am a real estate agent, so I use the MLS, but you can also use realtor.com. You're going to find all the same properties, basically, maybe not in exactly real time, depending on where you are. But then you find an agent to help you buy one of those. So that's pretty straightforward. I think everybody's heard of that. The other thing, and this is just a picture. So this is a piece of land that I just put under contract for a tiny home that I want to build, because look at this piece of land. It's tiny. I'm going to talk more about that on this channel as well. Hopefully this works out. I mean, I just put it under contract 2 days ago. I think I talked about, that I ran into problems on the other site building a tiny home because of deed restrictions. I'm very hopeful that that won't be the case here, because this is a very small lot, so it seems unlikely that there'd be similar restrictions. But anyway, I digress. This is, just what you see on Realtor. You search, you just put in land and your area, and you'll see properties that pop up, and then you just contact your agent and tell them, hey, I want to buy this piece of land. So that's pretty clear. The other spots are stuff to find land that's not on the market. And those are, I like to look at Facebook Marketplace. That's sort of become the new Craigslist, where there's a lot of scammers and stuff on there, but there's also a lot of just hustlers that found off-market deals and are trying to sell it to you, or people that just want to sell their own stuff and are trying to not pay a commission. So sometimes you can find good deals on there. You can also find a ton of crazy people, so it makes it fun. I spend a lot of time on there. You can, I said it's the new Craigslist. Craigslist still has deals. And then wholesalers, you can find them pretty much in any market. How you find them, you can search real estate wholesaler San Antonio. That's where I am, or whatever city that you're in. But so just a little bit about Facebook Marketplace. You get to this just by clicking on this little thing here. When you're on Facebook, and then you can put in land, and that'll bring up a bunch of stuff. You'll miss some things because, surprisingly, not everyone puts the word land in their listing to sell a piece of land, and they might just say lot, vacant lot. They might just put an address. You never know. So you can do that. You can also click on home sales and just put price restrictions in, and it will spit out a lot of different land for you. A lot of times these are agents that also have these listed on the MLS, but sometimes you'll see stuff that's just a truly off-market, somebody listing their own, a wholesaler listing one. So this is a good way to find wholesalers, that sort of thing. That's, Facebook Marketplace. Pretty straightforward. I think most people know how to use it if you're buying, trash from your neighbors, which is something I like to do. This is just Craigslist. Again, probably you're familiar with it. But it is one of the things that's not super clear is you have to go to housing and then real estate for sale. And there's not like a separate section for land. You can also just use their regular search for land. I actually find a decent number of people will list stuff on here that you really just can't find anywhere else. So it makes it a pretty useful tool. Uh, and again, a lot of wholesalers are putting their stuff up on Facebook, and you can also find agents or on Craigslist. You can find agents on here as well. If there's somebody that you see posting land regularly, contact them, ask them, do you have other sites? I mean, or do you have pocket listings? Do you know anybody who's thinking about selling that maybe you could help me approach? So it's another great way to find land. Um, Once you've found a piece that you're sort of interested in, you can jump in the car and go look at it. I do that probably more than I should, but if you want to save some time, I love using this Google Street View. You just search it on the map, click it in Google Maps, and then drop your little guy. You see this little dude, you drop him there. So this is again that piece of land that I just got under contract. You can go up and down the street. You can see what the neighbors look like. As far as this house, yeah, it's not the most attractive house that I'm building next to, but this one here is fun. And so, it's a way that you can sort of drive by without having to get into your car and run around every single time you see a listing that looks kind of okay. Sometimes, as you move down the street, you'll see all sorts of things. You might see, stuff I like to look for is other buildings that are in disrepair, graffiti. If you just see, any sort of thing that would tip you off. I looked at one property where there was on the street view, you could see a cop car, and they were arresting a bunch of people in the house next door. So that was kind of interesting. But this is a tool that I like to use a lot. You need to have some way of doing this though, because if you're looking at a lot of deals, and if you have a pretty big area, like for me, I was looking anywhere in San Antonio. You can, there's parts of San Antonio that are a 45-minute drive for me. And I don't want to jump in the car every single time that I find a decently priced piece of land and find out, oh, it's not really the neighborhood that I was hoping for it to be. So using that Google Street View, very helpful. That's, I think, all I need to say about that. I know this seems like a really obvious thing, but a whole bunch of my friends and family haven't been able to figure out how to watch my other videos once they found a link to one video. Not calling anybody out there. But so maybe not everybody is as tech savvy as I thought. And so this is something that I use all the time, but maybe I just take it for granted. The other thing you need is zoning map, because if you don't have a zoning map, you have no idea what you can build on a certain site. And so for me here in San Antonio, we're really lucky. They have what's called the one-stop map. You can see all kinds of stuff on here. And so you can see, again, the piece of land I found, it's in MF33. You need to know what that means. If you don't know what it means, you need to find someone who's going to tell you. It might be someone in the city. It might be your architect. Could be your real estate attorney, depending on what state you're in. Different people sort of handle the zoning function of development. I know when I worked as an attorney in New Jersey, we actually handled a lot of zoning work there, where if here in Texas, I know that attorneys do, but it's something that a lot of people just sort of, they'll go for rezonings on their own, or they'll do a lot of stuff I find interesting. There's a lot more self-help in that arena. I'm not saying that's the right move, but it is what I'm doing as well. I do talk to the city a lot, though. I harass them. So hopefully you're in a city like mine where they have great customer service and you can actually talk to a person and they'll answer your questions. One of the things that's great here in San Antonio is we have these different layers you can put on. And I'm going to mention flood maps later, but that's one that I click on. But also, too, we have a short-term rental density requirement. And so if there's too many of these permits, and this was important for me, then you can't have one on the street if there's one within 8 houses of you. And so we get to click that little box. And if there had been any others on the street right there, it would have showed them to me. It also, this is why I love this one-stop map. You can click through and get to your county data. I probably should have had the county website as a whole separate tool because it's something that you should look at for every deal that you're doing. This, again, is that piece of land that I have under contract. You can see it's going to tell you the zoning. It's going to tell you, the address, who owns it. That doesn't really matter because I bought this one, or I'm buying it on the MLS, so I didn't actually interact with the owner directly. But you can see taxing values. if there's improvements, which this one is vacant land, so it's not. It also can tell you the size of the lot. You can see this is a 25-foot width. I think that this was important for me to be able to know, what I can fit on there. You look at that width, and then you also this is part of that the zoning info that is again online, and you want to find. So I look at you. If you remember, I mentioned it's MF33, and so then I have to go and look at my setbacks. And on MF33, we have to have 5 feet on either side. And so if my lot's 25 feet wide, my building can only be 15 feet wide. That's why it's important to be able to look at all these different things in conjunction. And I'm running through these really quick. I might spend more time on another video. I just wanted to touch on all the different tools that you're going to want to look at. This thing that explains all the different zoning, you might be able to find it on municode.com or .org. Or if you just ask somebody in your city office, they can probably tell you where the best place to find it. Again, you want to find a flood map. It should be sometimes it's like a FEMA flood map, but what I like, again, on our one-stop map here in San Antonio, you can actually just put the flood layer and it shows you that flood zone. But if not, you need to find some source of looking at flood maps. A lot of times, especially those Craigslist deals and Facebook Marketplace deals that you see, a lot of that land is going to be in a flood zone, and that's why they're trying to sell it without an agent involved, hoping nobody ever checks. AirDNA, this is the last tool I'm going to mention. It's what I use to figure out what's the revenue going to look like for this property, because like I said, I'm using them as short-term rentals or for Airbnb, VRBO. And so, you can put any address in here. This is a tool that I pay for, but I think if you don't pay for it, you just get a little less data. You click on the rentalizer, and then you just put the address, click search, adjust your beds and baths because it's going to be vacant land. So if it is, they don't know how many beds and baths. So you put 2 beds, 1 bath, 4 guests, because it's going to be just a little tiny thing. And it spits out, what I think what the annual revenue should be. And that's revenue. That's not taking into account any of your expenses. But it's a great tool. It helps me back into how much I can spend. Does it make sense to buy this land for what they're asking? What can my budget be? And I also like to play with these numbers a lot. Sometimes just adding a half bathroom could change your occupancy rate a lot. And it's interesting to be able to see that. That's the last tool. I think there's probably others, but those are the ones that I always have those tabs open when I'm looking at land. And, like I said, I'll probably do a little bit more in depth about those. I don't want to, I'm sure I've already bored a lot of you, and I don't want to do too much, but for those of you that stay to the end, as promised, this is the new rendering. You can see a little bit of a change in this building. These doors are still not going to look quite like this. It's a limitation of the software, but these are actually going to be detached. And so we're using doors, but glass doors, but they'll actually be in the container doors, like inset in there. You can see over here, this container has been shifted out a little bit. You can see on our new floor plan, we did that because we're putting a half bath in here. This is the kitchen, and so instead of taking space from it, we shifted everything over. This is going to be a covered patio type area, and then we added a little deck. But so it sort of makes the roof line a little more interesting. I really like how this came out, but I'm going to do a full video just really talking about my plans, showing you all the renderings. I just know I had mentioned that this in a previous video, figured I'd share a little bit here. Again, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Sorry that I don't edit these and have a lot of uhs in there, but I just want to get this info out there. I realized that this isn't a TV show, so hopefully that doesn't bother anybody too much. I did get a couple comments from people, but this is just how I'm going to do it. Just trying to give you the info, show you what I'm doing. And I love it if you had questions or comments or ideas for other aspects of this that you'd like me to make a video about. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you.